Alright, this video will help provide you 5 tips to prepare you on the day of the SAT. Now, if you're watching this the day before the SAT, congrats. If you're watching it like 12 a.m., the day before the SAT, or the day of the SAT, what are you doing? Well, go to bed after watching this video. You have the test in the morning, so you have to be prepared. And that leads me to the first point. You have to prime your brain. You want to be focused and head off the gate strong when you start the test. And because the test is taken early in the morning, it's like 8 a.m., at least for the West Coast, you might have to shake off some of the sleep before you actually take the test. So here's one tip that I could advise you to prime your brain. You get there a bit early, get to the and while you wait in the waiting room area after you register and all that, you can do some practice problems online on Khan Academy or something like that at the test site before you actually get into the classroom. I was planning on doing this in the December SAT. I was gonna do a reading section, but I just couldn't focus, and I should just overcame the resistance then and there by just locking and just putting the effort then and just starting to prime my brain. But I didn't. And because of that, during the actual reading section, I wasn't focused at all. And I caught myself daydreaming, just going really slow. And I ended up not answering 5 of the questions in the reading section. And I was like, there's no way I'm letting myself throw this SAT again. So during the break, after the reading session, I was just like, you gotta get this up. You gotta lock in. And I was really focused on the other sections. And I finished with lots of time left. If I just focused and primed my brain in the waiting room area rather than just going from 0 to 100 during the actual test, I would have gotten higher than the score I got on the December SAT. And I kept this tip in mind during my March SAT, and while we were waiting in the cafeteria before we actually go inside the actual testing rooms, I did a quick problem set to prime my brain to stay focused on the task at hand. And I scored 40 points higher because of it, which is great. And once you're actually inside the classroom, this is tip number 2, choose an optimal location. During my December SAT, I chose the top left corner of the classroom because I thought, it'll be far away from the pressure cooker. You're not you're not in the middle of the room where everyone else is really focused and stressed. I don't know, but I didn't realize that the window was open, and it was really cold because it was during December. And looking back, I should have just taken responsibility and initiative to just set out the best environment for myself, and not settle for worse, and make the best out of it. I could have just gone up there, closed the window, or asked the proctor to do that before the test started, instead of just I'm brunching it through. It's also best to take the SAT at a school where you're familiar with. And I mean, you can't really do that now. You can't really control that now if you're watching the day before the SAT. But if you're watching this with the other SAT videos that I've made, and you registered early, and you got into a school that's close to your area, congrats. And if it's your school, double congrats. Because you know where the restrooms are. I mean, in the December SAT, I didn't know where the restrooms were in the school that I went to. This is the one that was 8 miles away. So during the breaks, I pretty much had to go across the building to use a gender-neutral bathroom because that's the only one I found on the same floor. And it was only one stall too. So it's pretty much a gamble. If someone else is in there, I can't use the bathroom. And I didn't even see a men's bathroom on the floor too. But after we finished the test, after we left the room and we turned a right, there's a stairs right there. And once you go down the stairs, there's literally a men's bathroom right underneath there. So if I actually went to the school, I would have known, hey, there's a bathroom there. I could have just went downstairs, walked half the distance to go downstairs, use the restroom, come back up, rather than going all the way across the hallway and speed walking or even sprinting to actually use the gender-neutral bathroom all the way over there. And another tip, during the actual test taking time, you actually want to time yourself. Or don't be afraid to ask, so let me elaborate. So during my December SAT, the testing site we had had analog clocks, not the digital ones. And I didn't bring a watch myself because I had a digital watch, and I thought it beeped a lot. So I didn't check the day before, which I probably should have. Beeping watches are not allowed in the SAT because it'll be a distraction. So I just didn't risk it. But then the thing is, the clock in the actual test taking place was a bit off. It was 1 or 2 minutes off. I don't remember. But and also I was on all the way on the other side of the room. So I'm not sure if that played a difference. Looking back, all these are just copes. I could have just adapted. Because I was daydreaming and not focusing, I still had another passage to read when the proctor said 5 minutes left. So I was just speedrunning, but then trying to answer all the questions and just guessing. And there's a thought in my mind to just ask the proctor if she could let us know if there's 1 minute left. But I didn't speak up. and she didn't say that there was 1 minute left. I ended up leaving 5 questions blank because I didn't ask her, so I wasn't able to guess because I was just so focused on getting all the answers out. I didn't even know the 5 minutes were left, and I just wasn't focused on the analog clock either. Oh well. Yeah, just one thing to pick up from this is to bring your own watch, or if you don't bring your own watch and you have an analog clock or something like that, or even if your school doesn't have a digital clock, it's good to ask the proctor if they can remind you if there's 1 minute left. Because during my March SAT, two of these 3 points, the other one I can't really control. So I did bring the digital watch I had. It actually didn't beep, so it still worked. And the proctor said it was alright too. Well, we also had an analog clock during the actual test, and that clock was broken too. But I covered that up with the digital watch. And the third one, this proctor actually did tell us if there's a minute left, so that helped a lot. But I don't know. Sometimes I don't think it's explicitly in the rules for the proctor to tell you that there's 1 minute left. But I don't because one of my proctors did it, and during the proctor in the December SAT, she didn't do it for the reading section, but I asked her to do it for the writing, math, and she did it. So I don't know, but it's just a good rule of thumb to ask if they don't tell you that there's a minute left or something like that. So the fourth tip, just to give it your all. Give your all, but don't seek perfection. That'll slow you down on some of the problems. The worst thing you want to do is get stuck trying to answer a hard question correct when you could have spent that time answering 3 or 4 other easier ones. If you guess on easier questions rather than guessing on the hard ones because you ran out of time, you're not playing to your best. Sure, you want to make this one worth it a whole lot, but you should still try to pace yourself and not get caught up in just one specific problem. You can use a marking system too. If it's really really hard, circle it, go move on ahead, answer the easier ones, and come back to it. This 5th tip builds onto the previous tip about giving your all, and it's to treat the SAT like the only time you take it. You commit what you learn and practice into the actual test, using your actual skills that you've learned to take the test. You're not just bum rushing through it. And even if you're planning to take 2 or 3 tests, don't think that you don't have to try on the first one because you have other chances. It's better if you get a good score on the first one and you don't have to do the other ones, because that means you're going to be studying a lot more for the next couple of months when you couldn't have if you just did really, really good on this one. And here are some thoughts I had after the December SAT, because I didn't do as well as I thought I would. I'm just going to read it off of what I wrote. So I said, right now, I'm retaking the test this March. I'm mostly doing it because I had 2 free tests that I could use, so I can be able to choose the better score to send to colleges. There's this subtle, dispassionate feeling of not wanting to take it again, or pride or complacency that I already got a decently high score and I don't have to study as much. And it's generally a chill feeling, because I got even though I didn't answer 5 of the questions, I got a 1500, and I was like, that's still a pretty good score, but I didn't answer 5 of the reading questions. Come on, I could have done better. Go back to what I said. I don't want to regress to this complacent pride. For this coming test, I realized that I shouldn't bank on the previous test score and not feel the need to try, but instead put my focus and effort on the process and polishing up my skills to be ready to take the SAT again. Because even though I still got a pretty good score on the December SAT, that doesn't mean I could just slack off on the March SAT. Because that's not how it works. If I'm taking it again, I want to do better than the one I did before. Because ultimately, it's the skills that matter. Getting a good score shows that you have the skills. But if you lost those skills, because I'm not sure about with you guys, but sometimes once you do the practice and all that stuff, you would you want to take the test at your peak skill. So leading up to SAT, the week before the SAT, you do a little bit more work to actually get a good score, to actually prepare yourself more. But after you take the test, you just kind of take a break and let it loose a bit. If you have to take the test again, you still have to rebuild up that momentum, and that's kind of annoying. But then ultimately, it's the skills that matter. It's the skill that matter, not the emotion you get. Oh, I already got a good score last time, that means I could do fine this time. It's the skills that matter, and getting a good score shows that you have the skills. But if you lost the skills through complacency of getting a high score previously, you just peaked, and you just peaked at the time you took that high score. And once you drop from not putting in the effort anymore, continue to prep for the next test, you just end up getting rusty. So these next few months, so this is what I wrote to finish off my thoughts on after taking the December SAT. I said, so these next few months, I'll study a lot smarter. I'll go over some more of Hayden Rodia's videos, especially the ones on reading and writing. I'll get reps on the reading and writing session, and occasionally on the math section every other day on Khan Academy, doing a practice test every month or so. Other priorities will show up during this time as well, the volleyball season and researching colleges, so I won't have as much time to study as I did for the previous one. And that's another reason. And okay, end quote. And that's another reason why you should get it out of the way as soon as possible, because you don't have to juggle the SAT with other things and fully focus on it. Like, I got a 1540 on March SAT, and I could try to get like a few points higher. I mean, like, I just focused my effort on other stuff rather than spending months on the SAT. Because after March, the next couple of months are not ideal for the SAT, especially in May because you have AP tests as well. And June, I think, I mean, you can do it in June too, but you have to like build yourself back up within the month after taking the SAT. So that's gonna take a lot more work. And I mean, like after SAT, I mean, like after the AP test, after AP testing, you're like done. But if you want to like, I don't know, May is not ideal. June is moderately, but I think like if you do it before, if you do like October, November, December, March, those are the best ones. Maybe even August too, I don't know. But yeah. But if you end up having to take the SAT, like especially the June SAT is coming up, there's still a silver lining to it. Because like with more priorities, this can help. Like this is what I wrote again after the December SAT. Because if you have more priorities, this can help me focus on what really matters and not just dilly-dally any longer. And this can help train my focus too, because I'll have to work efficiently to make the most out of it. If I gave myself only like 30 minutes a day to study for the SAT because I had like volleyball and other stuff that I have to do, then I don't have to like, then I'm gonna be a lot more focused in 30 minutes than if I had like 2 hours to do it. So like Parkinson's law, your work fills up the time you allot to it. So with more stuff, I'll be able to grind with more focus instead of just languishing and semi-putting the work in. And of course, it's best to put all your focus on the SAT, but as of writing this after taking the December SAT, I'm just making the most out of my situation. Those are the 5 tips I have for the day of the SAT. If you're watching this the night before the SAT, pack up your stuff real quick, go to bed early. And wish you the best, wake up early, and prime your brain. You got this. Keep going.